So welcome back everyone to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here. For today, and what can I say? We are having an incredible, super badass Tuesday because we are chatting with the incredible, amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary Lauren. Lauren, how are you today?
Good, how are you? Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, I'm doing fantastic. You know what? Well, what better way to have an incredible, super badass day that, to be chatting with someone as badass as you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh my God, I love chatting about the acting world. Don't even get me started.
I love it. I love it. Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. But also, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Lauren's social media. Let's follow her and let's discover why she's super badass. So buckle up for this interview. For those who are watching it or listen to it, get a drink or two, enjoy this whole chat, and let's get started. So I want to start this whole conversation by throwing out the first question, which is, what initially drew you to acting in the first place? Was there a specific moment or performance that solidified your passion for it?
Yeah, so my parents actually got me into this whole industry. So I was a really, really shy kid growing up, and they realized, she can't go through life like this. So one of my family friends was actually involved in dance and in theater. And so they put me into it, not expecting me to love it. And one thing led to another over the years. I just grew to love it. I started getting more comfortable auditioning in front of people. And when I was in third grade, I had fought for this role in the little production we were doing at school of Peter Pan. I got to play the role of Wendy, and that's what solidified it. And that's when I really started taking it more seriously and got involved in bigger productions outside of school, which ultimately led me to where I am now.
There you go. That's like badass level one. We're starting out. Fair enough.
Exactly.
I like it. And it's great that your parents actually push you to it, to kind of realize that, okay, we need to help her on her like self-confidence to it. So I
Yeah.
think it is. That's pretty cool. I think that is one of the biggest problems that some kids have when they're like on that age going on, problems with confidence, if someone tells them that they're not cool or if they're not worth it to it, it could actually really hit them for their mature life. So it's great that your parents were like, that's good parenting. They were like, you know what, let's put her in acting and we'll see what happens. And it turns out that you are killing it, so that's pretty cool.
Exactly. Like, I really have them to thank for it because I wouldn't have done it myself. Like, the year before they put me into it, they tried it and it was just for preschool, and I cried. I hated it. So they kind of took it slow with me. They said, okay, let's put her in a class. She won't have to perform in front of people just yet. And then by the end of the year, hopefully she'll be ready to do that. And
I love it. There you go. I love it. Huge shout out to your parents because they did an
right.
epic job. That's pretty cool. And moving here a little bit, tell me, as an actor, you often had to inhabit the lives of various characters. So how do you approach stepping into a new role, and what techniques do you use to make the character feel authentic?
So for me, I'm very visual. So I often use, where have I seen this person before? Have I seen them in my life? Have I seen them on a TV show, in a movie? And if I can find out where I know them from, I can go from there. And I also just use fashion. Fashion's a big one for me. If I can get into an outfit that represents this character, it's like the ultimate thing. It's a game changer for me. It's like a snap and I'm ready, I'm in. So that's what I use. I also use music. So on my way to an audition, I'll find like a certain album. Typically for me, it's Taylor Swift. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. And I'll find like a specific album of hers to really get me into the mindset of where I'm going. Also, script analysis is a big one for me. It's not really about what am I doing, it's what are the other people saying about me? What's like my presence in this film, in this scene? Is it a good presence? Is it a bad one? And then I can be like, okay, why do they do the things that they do? Especially if they're a villain. Where does that come from? And for me, it's important to always, with every one of my characters, to have a level of empathy because I can't judge them. And so if I find out why they do the things they do, I can make things make sense to me. And then I can just move on from there. So that's always like the first thing I do is, where have I seen them? Why do they do the things they do? And then I go into, okay, what are they wearing? What kind of music represents them, to get myself into the audition room or even in the performance room.
Yeah, I like it. It's Yeah, it's amazing. What can I say? I love the, yeah, like at the end, it's important to make, make it as relatable as possible, and when you're able to create that, I mean, like the audience get, there's something about it that I just keep saying about that, this feeling you have to, you got to, when you are having like this connection to a character you're watching, to actually care about that, and as an actor, I mean, I would bet when you realize that your character actually impacted someone, to actually make them feel something real to it, even though that we know what we're watching is not real, but the emotions are not. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like that's why I got into the industry actually was I was doing this play when I was 14 and I was playing like the goofball character. I'm like, no one's gonna be able to relate to this character, but he was so much fun to play because I was actually playing a guy. And when I walked out after the show, everyone said, you made us so happy. You let us escape. Like when we watched you, we were just enjoying ourselves or we felt something. And that's why I do what I do is I want people to feel something, whether it's joy, sadness, whatever. Like feel it. And I'm like, thank you for telling me this. Cause then that means I've done my job.
Yeah, I like it. And you're killing it here, just saying. I love it. I love it. And tell me, what would you say that are your top five of Taylor Swift songs? Top five.
Top five Taylor Swift songs. Okay. That changes from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of depends on where I am in life, but like right now, definitely my most listened to would either be Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, her newest album. Ooh, oh, Vigilante Shit from Midnight's, Enchanted Speak Now, Love Story Fearless. I know that's like a classic. And ooh, the fifth one. Probably right now, just with what everything I've gone through in the past year, I would say Slut. Yeah, those are
Well
like my top
taken.
five at the moment.
There you go. I like it. When she went, yeah, when she came to Mexico, I wanted to go to her concert, and I was like, I'm so gonna go to her concert. And I was preparing, laptop ready, everything ready, good to go, money, got everything, right? I was like, I got this. So I took a nap. I was like, I'm
Oh
so tired.
no.
I'm just gonna take a few, I'm just gonna take a few minutes to it, and those few minutes turned out into hours. So when I woke up, everything sold, and I was like, ah, crap. So
Oh no. I mean, so I went to the concert in Seattle. It was fantastic, but
that's cool.
luckily the Netflix like or the Disney Plus show,
Hmm.
you get it's the same thing. Doesn't quite do the concert experience justice, but it's
Yeah,
she's a
absolutely.
genius.
Yeah,
She's a
yeah.
genius.
And in general, check this out. In general, what would you say that are some of your favorite music artists? Like in general. Let's go.
Ooh.
I mean, I wouldn't say like your top five because I would be, I will put you on the spot somehow, you know what I mean? But some general names you're like, you know what, those are these guys inspire me.
Pink. Pink's a big one for me. I recently have fallen in love with Lana Del Rey. Love her. I just love her sound. Love what she's trying to do. Um, oh, okay. I can't. I'm really bad with names. She just broke out like recently. Like she's been around for a while, but I cannot remember her name right now. So anyone listening to this, she's on tour right now with Olivia Rodrigo. She has a few songs. Oh, Chapel Roan. That's her name. Chapel Roan. I love Adele. Classic for me. And ooh, another one. Ooh, this one's tough. Taylor Swift is like kind of like a given, but I think I'm trying to think of all the people I've seen and who Selena Gomez for me, I'm going back, classic. Loved Gomez back in the day, and I still love her.
I like it. And many actors have rituals or routines to get into character, right? So what's yours? Do you have like any pre-show ritual to help you? Like what is your thing here?
So my thing really is I'm a social butterfly. So whenever I get to set or I get to a theater, I love talking with people, whether it's crew or other actors, and kind of getting ready with everybody is really my thing and just having fun. Because for me, I find if I like try to get into character, it just doesn't work for whatever reason. Like especially with theater, it's just something I just kind of have to tap into and I can snap into in the moment. Whereas when I try to get into character much earlier, it just doesn't work for me. I also, like, before I get to the theater, steam my voice. Always go exercise in some way, shape, or form, whether that's going for a run, that's going to the gym, that's going swimming, something just to get me awake and get my body going is really important. But yeah, those are like my main things that I do.
I'll take it. And now that you mentioned, when you were like on set or on stage, tell me what's the most bizarre or unexpected thing that ever happened to you either on stage or on set?
Okay, bizarre on stage. Okay, this was wild. We're going back here. We're going back to like 10, over 10 years ago. I was in this show and everything was going smooth. And funny enough, before the show, we were going through this one song that I was in. It was my solo. And I get to this one part and I completely blank for no reason but their own. And the rest of the song, it just went downhill. Like all the other characters forgot their lines too. It was just the most bizarre thing. And somehow we got back, we would get back, and then we would lose it again. And of course, it was the one song we had rehearsed before we did the show that day for no reason of their own. It just
Wow.
blanked.
I mean it happens, right?
It happens. It was just like we like got off stage after it was, and we turned to our director and we said, "Well, of course." And funny enough, I actually kind of know why it happened. So there's like a saying in like the theater world that you do not say when you're doing a show,
Mm.
and someone said it. And we all turned to that person and we said, "This is why you don't say that word."
I think that's just the way it is. Sometimes shit
Yeah.
happens, it's part of the whole experience to it, and it's interesting how like it can actually happen the moment that you are the most prepared on, you know what I mean?
It
Or
always does.
s- or like somehow it manages to grab you on your most vulnerable moment and you're like, "Oh crap."
And it was so funny because like when it happened, I just had the memory of like I don't even know where I am right now. Like it was like an out of body experience. It wasn't like freaking out. It was just, where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah. That is, but I think that is also when you are able to put it in perspective and be like, "You know what? It is what it is. It happened. Let's keep moving forward." It can get like more, I mean, yeah, you can feel like more positive to it, to be like
Oh yeah, like we
whatever,
laughed about it right after it happened. I think at one point we were even laughing on stage. Like it's
totally.
gonna happen. And it was one of my most talked about moments with those friends. Like we always come back to it. It's just one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, I like it. And that's a whole thing to it, to remember the good things and to enjoy them, like no matter
Exactly.
how, so that is cool. And acting can be emotionally demanding, right? So how do you maintain a balance between fully immersing yourself in a role and at the same time taking care of your mental and emotional well-being?
Yeah. So for me, it's really important to kind of not have a life outside of acting, but have a life outside of acting, you know, like separating the two worlds because I found last year when my whole life was just acting, I began to get angry with it, tired of it, just because it's so mentally draining. Even when you're not working, just like, especially I was in school last year, it would be so draining. You're like full of people who want the same thing and you love each other, but you're also comparing yourself. Like, if some person does this, you're thinking, oh man, why didn't I get that? And then something else will happen. So for me, I love sports. So me and my friends will go watch a hockey game, a football game, go to a bar, have some drinks, just have a good time. Shopping's another one for me. I love fashion, so just putting time into that. Drawing, just going to get coffee. Watching reality TV is probably my guilty pleasure. I will come if do not have lines to learn the next day on set, I will come home, turn on some sort of reality TV and fall asleep to it. Done.
I mean, I do think that it's important to kind of have a balance to it, to have a balance on things. I think that is one of the problems that perhaps some people are doing it these days, or somehow, that you will go all into it. You will go all into something that you're passionate about, and it's great. But at the same time, you need to kind of take care of yourself. You need to take, at the end of the day, your body is your instrument. So,
Mhm.
you need to kind of take moments here and there to take care of it, do something fun, do something to distract you over, so you can have the inspiration back and the feel back to keep performing at 100%. So,
Yeah, agreed. The best thing I ever did for myself was actually this past summer. I took 3 months off. I was like, I'll audition if I find a project that I like or my agent sends me something, but training or anything, not gonna do it. Just gonna have 3 months to myself, be a 20-year-old for a change. Best thing I ever did.
totally. Yeah. Yeah, it does. And yeah, it's just important to take those moments to take a break, take a breather to it. At the end, it's a process to it, and I think that is a word that we constantly tend to forget, that it's a process, that it's gonna take time, and it's okay if it takes time because that's the way it is. You have to take those, you have to be on those ups and downs to build character, to understand more about yourself, and at the same time to keep practicing and keep working on your craft at the same time. There is not such no such thing as success overnight. Let's be real. I think that is one of the. It's funny how sometimes people will be like, "Oh, this actor or this musician came out of nowhere," and when you check their bio a little bit or their work, you're like, "No, they've been doing it for a while now." So,
Exactly. Exactly.
mm,
It's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
there you go. Epic, epic. And if you could play any historical figure, fictional character, oh, let's go big, even an animal. Why not? Tell me who or what would it be and why?
Okay, so historical figure, Anna Nicole Smith would be who I'd want to play.
Interesting.
The reason for that is I saw a documentary on her about a year ago. It was on Netflix, and her story, she just captivated me. I said, "What a fun person to play! What a life that she got to live, good, bad, and ugly in her short time." And I said, the amount of layers you'd get to explore with her fun side, her business side, but underneath that, there's all this trauma that she's going through, and she's truly struggling, and it's heartbreaking, but you're hoping that she'll get to the end, and when she doesn't, it's just wow. She'd be great. Fictional character. Okay, we're gonna go Disney with this one. Princess and the Frog. I would love to play Charlotte, Lottie, the pink best friend to Tiana. She would just be so much fun because she's bigger than life. She's comedy, but she's also deep and she's a good person. And so to get to play those layers would be really cool. And she's just been a dream role for me from like the beginning of time. Um, Animal. I would love to play a bear.
A
I love
bear.
bears. I love bears. I think they are the coolest creatures around. Specifically, I would play a panda bear because I just feel like I could do whatever I want, and I get to be clumsy, get to be cute, get to be ditzy, and you'd find entertainment out of it.
Yeah. 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 Pandas are the best. Like whenever you will see like a reel, like a video on them and how clumsy they are and they're just the way they are.
Right? I'm also like a huge klutz. I'm like, one time I think I showed a picture or a video of one to my friends, and they're like, Lauren, you did this the other day. Like you fell off something the other day. Like you've done this. And I said, yeah, yeah, I did.
That is cool. Have you ever seen them like in real life?
One time, San Diego Zoo. I was 8 years old and I saw one.
There you go.
There it was. I was like, that was the one thing I really wanted to see because I was obsessed with them when I was a little girl. And I saw one and I so badly wanted to pet it. We weren't allowed to, but the urge to just crawl through that cage and go play with it was really huge.
That's cool. I like it. Have you ever see like have you ever saw um this jobs that there's actually people who who like if you get hired in their in this type of suits, I think it's in China, I think it's China,
Panda
that
cuddlers.
right,
Oh, if I wasn't an actor, I'd be doing that.
for sure. The other day I was
That's
saying
the
like
dream,
I was like I was checking in, I was like, screw everything, I'm going that way.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, just to play with them all day. I'd have so much fun. I would never leave.
Cool. And you know, actors often had to adapt to different the different genres or styles of performance. So, is there a particular genre or style that you haven't explored yet, but you would love to try anytime in the near future?
Horror.
Horror,
Never
okay.
got to do it, like, all through my life, never gotten to do it. Watched a lot of it, but I would love to be part of a horror movie, especially one that's kind of about, like, a true story or, like, it's based on something real. Those are my
Oh.
favorite because, like, you look at this behind the scenes and it's like the idea that you know it's not real, but you then at one point have to convince yourself it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to do it honestly, like, especially when it comes to, like, jump scares and stuff, that would be challenging in the sense, like, you have to convince yourself it's real, so it's not coming off as, like, a caricature or a, like, almost like you're making fun of the horror standpoint because, like, if you're doing, like, those typical, like, slasher movies, as great as they are, sometimes, like, you watch them and you're like, "Okay, you know that this isn't real." But then, like, one of my favorite horrors is the Conjuring series. Absolutely love them because 'cause I'm like, "This feels real." And to do that is something I've always wanted to try, and to nail it is even harder. So it'd be
Yeah.
a really fun challenge.
Tell me, like at this point, what has been some of the toughest roles you have played? And by toughest, I mean that perhaps on the when you were in this process of preparing them, there was something about it that took you, yeah, that took you more than usual, let's say.
Yeah, so this was last September. No, it was last December, actually, and we were doing our grad project for our acting school, which was this play, and my character had this one scene with another character that hit really close to home to me. Basically, our 2 characters hate each other, and the reason why they hate each other is really complex. Growing up, they both did things to hurt each other, and in the beginning of the scene, they're acting like they're kind of friends, they're catching up, but then it really takes this drastic turn to the point where my character goes off on the other character about, "This is why I hurt you, because you hurt me." And the reason I was struggling with it was because the girl playing the other character, we went through the exact same thing. And I made it a point to myself, I'm not going to let this girl see what she's done to me. I'm not going to let her see how hurt she's made me throughout this whole school year. I couldn't do it to myself until this one day I was with the director and I was really pissed off. I was irritated. This girl didn't like me. She didn't want to work with me. The scene was just a disaster. And he tells me I'm going through it and he stops me and he says, "Take a breath." Took the breath and I was able to unleash it and let it out to her. And that took so much out of me. After that, I had to leave for the day. They sent me home because I couldn't stop crying because it was so real. And
Mm.
that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I can only imagine. And I think that is, I mean, there's so many things that usually happen, in the middle of a of a shooting that sometimes we the audience don't know about because we just see the final product to it and that's it, right? But once you kind of discover like how much the actor had to went through, to get this specific scene or the specific character, you I mean, at least to me, you see things different. You're like, at the end of the day, it makes sense because even though that you know that what you're playing, it's not real, your emotions to it, your body can tell the difference to it, so it's gonna react as naturally as possible. And of course, at summertime, as you were telling me, it can actually hit you or impact you somehow. And yeah, but it's great that you were able to move forward to it.
Yeah, and it's definitely like the best thing that could have happened because after that happened, I knew she knew that I wasn't acting in that moment. And we never spoke again in the sense that, like, if we talked, it was to rehearse. And that moment is when she really knew how much I was hurt. And then things just changed for the better. We were able to get to the same place every time we did it. And so I credit like the director for like allowing me that time to kind of get there and then knowing when to press my buttons. And it ended up being one of the best things that ever happened.
That's the key. That's the key. you were able to overcome that and to learn from those things and to become even like more badass to it, become a pro.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And you know, let's lighten up things up a bit, right? Um, if you were stranded on a desert island and could only bring three movies, what would they be?
Oh, okay. I was thinking about this earlier because I saw this question earlier, and there are so many good movies. Probably The Conjuring I would bring with me. Ooh, okay. This is an old one, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. It's from like the 60s. Great movie, so funny but so real. And then for like a lighthearted one, or like a like a Disney, because I gotta have my happiness in there. I'd probably bring The Princess and the Frog. Those would
All
be my
right,
three.
I like it. Pretty cool. Pretty, yeah. Sounds. I mean, you need to have. Yeah, you need a mix going on here since you're gonna be on on a desert island for a while. You know, you need to have a bunch of different vibes to it.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I like it. I like it. And if you could create a dream assemble cast for a movie, who would it be in it? But also, what kind of movie would it be?
Am I allowed to bring actors back from the dead?
The sky is the
Perfect.
limit. Go for it.
Perfect. Okay. So I would put Tom Hanks, Matthew Perry, Amelia Clark, Sam Kaufman, Emma Stone, and Philip Seymour Hoffman into a movie. And it would be some sort of dramedy. I
Dramedy.
don't know what would happen with those people, but you got the comedy geniuses in all of them. But you also got a lot of them do like dark humor, and they also all play drama very well. So it'd be very interesting to put those people into a room together and just see what happens.
I like it. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that would be a movie where I just wouldn't know who to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I hope that we will be able to see more of those type of films and kind of a little bit stop with the remake things. You're saying?
Oh, please, like Hollywood, even theater, Broadway is running out of ideas. It's there's a time and place. There's a time and place, but original concepts, I miss them so badly. Because there's a thing about the originals. I'm like, you can't beat them unless you change the stories in some way, shape,
Totally.
or form.
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing here. I mean, it's annoying when they are creating a remake when a remake is not necessary. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like the original was great, just leave it like that, you know? And if you want and let the new generation discover it, as but to be able to make a remake to it and play with the nostalgia to it in order for these big companies to make a buck to it, I usually more the idea to, you can use half of that budget that you are using for that, and you will be able to create a different story, new content. And I think, I mean, you don't have to, it might be difficult, right, to create 100% new idea, sure. But at least, give a chance to more stories to discover. I think that is the key to it. And we will see it sometimes that big companies we will be using, we will take, they will take a risk to it and turn out to be a huge success and people actually love it instead of throwing us remake after remake after remake. And the worst is that no remake have worked.
No,
None of them, none of them have actually worked, and they just keep pushing to it. I'm like, why? You know what I mean?
exactly. Like the only ones for me that have worked have been the retellings of a story. Like if you take a story but you spin it differently. Or and even then it's hit or miss, but it's just like they're playing safe where it's like big risk, big reward.
Totally, totally. So yeah, I mean, I do hope that at some point we can get the chance to just close that chapter of the whole remake stuff and start to create something new because yeah, it's getting a little bit annoying and to be playing with and doing remakes on things that we don't need a remake because the original was good. Just leave it like that, as I was
And the
saying.
new generation, if it's good, they'll watch it.
Totally. For
They'll watch
example,
it.
yeah, for example, the Back to the Future trilogy, you
Oh,
know?
timeless.
Time I mean
Timeless.
It's epic. It's amazing. It's a must watch for sure. And it's just great. Even though that you know it's an oldie, you will still enjoy it because it's great. You know?
Exactly. Like even the first Top Gun, I grew up watching like Forrest Gump. I grew up watching those movies with my family. Like without them ever even possibly having remakes. That's what I was watching because the older generations will bring movies to the newer generations. Always.
Totally. And we are seeing this generation now creating remakes to it. And I'm like, no.
Oh,
Oh God, yeah, it's crazy times. But yeah, just the way it is. And I do hope we can get a chance to, so I'm saying, see some new stuff and give opportunities to more actors along the way. I mean, I remember back when I started this platform, right? I had like this very small idea of actors because of the whole media to it that they will only be showing us the A-list and all of that. But once I was able to chat more, and discover more actors, and then you realize this huge, incredibly huge ocean of actors, musicians that they're just working their careers and they're making it happen and they're super talented as well. And then I just got this idea like, would it be great if we could be able to create more stories so then those guys can actually raise their hand and more people can actually discover and be like, oh, there's actually more people involved who are ta as talented as a regular A-list, let's say. You know what I mean?
well, that's it. Like you're even seeing in the comments now when it comes to book adaptations for movies and stuff. Please hire new actors. That's not even the new actors saying it. It's the people who are reading these books saying it, saying we want to see someone new. We don't want to see the same people over and over again. As great as they are, we love them, but it's like new actors, please get them in. And you're just seeing it everywhere. Like I was talking to my friends the other day, and they're not in the acting industry, and they're talking about this one book that I hadn't read. And they said they're talking about the casting that was coming out for the movie, and they said we really want a new actor to play the main character. There are room for the A-listers in it, but they're like having someone play this fresh character would be such a breath of fresh air.
Totally. Totally. So yeah, I do hope, we get a chance
It's
to.
coming one day. It's
I
coming.
hope. I mean, we kind of see like a little bit of a trend going on. We kind of see it coming, but still deliver more new actors, more opportunities,
Mhm.
new content. Take a risk.
Exactly. And that's like the thing is when I was in business class last year, one of my teachers was telling a story about her daughter, and her daughter was a new actor. And when she was auditioning for this big movie, director loved her, casting loved her. The producer said, "We don't know her. Why would we take her? We have three other actors that we know and we trust." And it's like, whoa. You have all these people that have met this girl telling you how great she is, but you're too scared to take the risk. They ended up taking the risk on her because everyone fought for her, but it's like you were willing to have three other actors come in when the entire casting team has told you we want this person. That's what was crazy to me.
Mhm. It's
Strictly
just so,
because she was Canadian.
and when that happens, I mean, one time somebody told me it's the so-called gatekeeping, right?
Oh, huge. It's
Mhm.
especially it's a huge thing in America, especially like Canadian actors or any actor who doesn't have the standard American accent. First thing we're taught, have that American accent. You will lose a role because of it. Because they do not want Canadian accents. They don't like them. My friend, when she moved to America, she said, I had to prove I was well established in Canada just to let them come let me live there and work in the US. It was crazy.
So wait a minute. So if you are born in Canada, you're
Hmm.
Canadian, right? And you go
Yeah.
to the US, you will have to even work on your accent
Yep.
to sound as a regular
American is
as a regular citizen. Are you? The other day I actually have an episode which is called "Don't Mess with My Accent," and I was
Mhm.
speaking with an actress. She's from Lebanon, and we spoke about like the whole difficulties that she has, that she has she has gone through with the acting industry because of her accent, because they're actually forcing her to work on her accent to sound as American as possible. And as we were chatting about that, I was saying like this is just crazy because I mean we want, I mean, let's, at least to me, I don't care how someone sounds. You know what I mean? If that person is able to perform as as well as the character needs to, I don't care how they sound. You know what I mean? And it's a shame
Hmm.
that even till this day we will have like this kind of a, yeah, this discrimination thing going on, because let's call it what it is. It's discrimination for, for them be forcing you to switch your accent as much as you can to sound as American. That's nonsense,
It's crazy.
and we were also chatting that if the other way was around, that for example, um that it's crazy that they are forcing you to prefer to work on your accent as much as you can, right? But when they are portraying somebody else from another country, they can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? And they can portray it
Oh yeah.
the way they can. And we were chatting about that, that's just nonsense, because then where is the whole? Then you are not being fair. You might say that you are fair, but you're just using that into your own benefit to it. You're actually taking advantage to it when you well at the end you're not being fair at all. So I didn't know that actually for Canadians was the same thing. I thought that it was only for people from another countries that English
No,
was were not the native.
it's the same thing, and they're especially tough on Canadians. Like you don't hear the difference until you listen for it, and then you hear the difference. And it's there, but it's not there. It's very similar way of speaking. And it's just you have to play by their rules. And unfortunately, in this industry and the way that it's shaped, is we do play to the Americans. We have to. It's just they own everything. But and you have to almost play by their rules to break them. You have to play with them until you get to a point, okay, now I can start breaking all these rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things. It sucks in the moment, but then once you get to a spot where you're like, okay, you get a bit of power in the sense of I can kind of do what I want because I'm a certain thing and I'm just in that high demand, but you have to like break everything about yourself to get to that point. It's the weirdest thing and it sucks. But you have to do it, unfortunately. As much as I don't agree with it, I knew I had to do it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a new one to me.
Hmm.
That is crazy. What can I say? It's yeah, it's just crazy. It's just nonsense that they will be focusing on those type of things, and they will be trying to portray this agenda that they are very inclusive in everything, but they're actually not. So
Oh, they are no. Anyone who says the Americans are inclusive is just not the case, especially when it comes to not just Canadians, but to people of different cultures. It's insane.
totally, totally. Wow. Okay, I like it. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Screw it. You went from badass level 5 to badass level 100 here. Skyrocketed here. That's incredible. Yeah. And this is great because people should be more aware of that. I mean, it's a shame, right? That we, the audience, we don't know about all of the nonsense that happens around, and when we are able to discover a little bit of it, then we're like, oh, I get it. I mean, I remember when the whole strike was happening. I remember that, for example, some of my friends were saying like, oh, like why they are complaining, they are receiving thousands upon $1,000 and things like that. But then my platform and I came along, and I was like, you have no idea how many actors actually have to struggle,
Oh,
and in order to get like a decent salary to it, because these big companies, sure, they will give him the opportunity, but they will pay like sometimes like even the worse than the minimum to it,
oh yeah,
and
oh yeah.
an actor told me that he met somebody that he received a check for 90 cents, 70 cents, something like that. And I was like, that's crazy. And when the strike happening, I think that was a good thing to people to start to realize how the whole injustice is happening around there. That yeah, sure, these companies will bring us a lot of epic, incredible content, sure, but be fair to it, play fair to it
Yeah.
and things like that.
So like like it kind of comes back to the idea is and what's happening now is the people who are getting those $1,000, that's 1% of the industry.
Totally,
Most people cannot make enough to earn benefits within the union. Like basic coverage, like health, dental, 99% of them aren't even making enough. And the idea of it is In LA, this is the LA industry. If you get two one-liner roles a year, you've succeeded. That's fantastic. And anywhere else, that's not the case. It's wow, it's just there's not a lot of opportunity. And then now what they're doing is they're punishing actors. They're only hiring the A-listers right now because they were the ones who weren't striking. And they're not giving a lot of opportunity right now. And that's the unfortunate thing. It's like they did what they had to do, but it came with a lot of repercussions. And so the industry is still very slow. It's coming back slowly, but you're seeing just a lot of these movies right now, as we kind of talked about earlier, just the A-listers, because the union and the production companies are mad at the unions for striking.
Mm.
Even Canadians were finding it hard to get into the American productions that are filming here because they only have to hire a certain percent of us. They don't have to hire, they have to give us auditions, but they don't actually have to cast anybody.
So they will be playing this idea that that we give you the opportunity, but between the lines, we are not giving you the opportunity at
It
all.
happens. Like, I cannot tell you which productions it's happened on, but it happens. Like, I was talking with my coach the other day, and she's telling me, she's like, with this one audition we were talking about, she's like, they probably shadow casted because I remember the breakdown and they said they were looking for a specific person. And I was talking to somebody who worked on that set, and they said, oh, they didn't go with that at all. That's not what they did. So it's just one of those things. And that's why knowing the business of acting is equally as important as having the talent and having and as harnessing your craft, because you have to be your own business. I
Totally.
always say sometimes you get to be a creative like 1 to 10% of the time, and it sucks. The rest of the time you're like advocating, you're doing business. That's what it is.
Yeah. Wow. That's just deep.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that they will yeah, it's crazy the fact that they are just at the end it's a shame. It's a shame that
Mhm.
that something so cool and awesome, which is acting, it gets hey, yeah, it gets ruined by the wrong people, because of their position of power. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Oh, huge power imbalance in the world of the acting industry. But coming back to it, you have to love the acting industry at at its best and at its worst to pursue it.
totally. Wow. Okay. I'm speechless. That is crazy. Yeah. Wow. And like what motivates you? We all have those days that basically we just want to quit, right? It's inevitable, happens to all of us. So how you stay positive, or like what keeps you focused on a moment that perhaps, yeah, let's say you were not doing so well, let's say.
Hmm. So for me, it's just knowing that some way, somehow, it's gonna all work out. Like, I've known since the age of 14 that this is what I'm gonna do. I have to believe and I have to know that one day, through some way, shape, or form that I don't know right now, I'm gonna get my big break. And I also know and accept I'm gonna have days of doubt, but I can't let it control my outcome. I have to say, okay, yeah, I feel like quitting today. Why do I feel like this? Okay, I feel like this because of that. Well, let's just change this for the day and just know that everything happens for a reason. The right things are happening. Like, especially in a world where your job is 99% rejection, each rejection gets you to where you need to be. And it's just a journey and it's a path. And it's like, I always kind of like call it, it's like one big navigation system. And you have your final destination, whatever that may be, whether that's winning an Oscar, um, becoming a celebrity for some people, or getting like your starring role in a feature film. The world of acting is just giving you different directions on how to get there. Sometimes you get a straight shot, and other times, most of the times, you don't. But every stop means something on that journey.
Mm.
And I have to believe that every single day. I literally start my day saying, it's going to work out somehow.
And now that you mentioned the whole, rejection side, how you handle that? I mean, we all know that it's difficult. Nobody likes being rejected, of course. So how you handle that part?
So for me with rejection, I don't see it as rejection. I see it as you weren't right for this role. You are right for something else.
Mm.
Because to me, as long as that casting director is still asking for me, it means they're fighting for me. And it's like, okay, I didn't get this one. That sucks. It's never not going to suck, especially when you get so attached. But it's also, okay, didn't get this one. I'm going to cry about it today. Going to let myself have my feelings because that's also really important. I feel like they tell us actors you can't get sad about these things. It's like a breakup. You can get sad. I get sad. Like there have been roles I lost out and I've literally bawled my eyes out. But the next day I wake up and I say, okay, today is a new day. I had my moment. I let my feelings go. What's next? That's how I get through it. And different people have different coping mechanisms. My coping mechanism is what's going to make me happy when I don't get something I want. And that is having my feelings, eating ice cream, pizza in my bed, watching reality TV shows with my friends, my family, my stuffed animals. That's what gets me through it. And then the next day I just say, kiss today goodbye, point me towards tomorrow. What's next?
Mm. I'm gonna drop this mic basically because you're killing it here. So that is amazing. Yes, yes, I love it. What would you say is your favorite pizza and your favorite ice cream?
Ooh, favorite ice cream? Napolitano. I love the fact you get 3 in 1. And pizza, it kind of just depends on the day. So it depends also where I'm getting it from. So like
Okay.
if I'm getting like fast food pizza, I usually just go to this place Fresh Sliced. I get the cheese with like the white sauce on it. But if I'm going for like fancy pizza, I love a Meat Lovers.
I
Like
like it.
those are my 2.
That's it. That's your jam going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. And my last question,
Mm-hmm.
so we can all enjoy and relax after an epic, super deep, badass chat here going on, you're saying. So here it is. What do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Ooh, fight for yourself. You only have yourself in this industry. Like you have an agent, you can have a manager. They can only take you so far. You have to be your own advocate. You have to stand up for yourself and you have to get yourself to where you need to be. Your support is great, but that's only part of the job. If you really want something, you got to go after it. You can't wait for somebody to give you the opportunity because guess what? They're going to give someone else who wants it just that much more. Because in this industry, it's great to have natural talent. If you have natural talent, fantastic, but you almost have to work like you don't have natural talent. And that can mean different things. For me, it means finding my own opportunities, going to networking. And then, of course, having my agent's fantastic. I love her. She's super helpful. She fights for me as well. But like, it's not even just getting jobs, it's getting what you want. So, this one project I was on, fantastic. I found out some people were being paid at different times and I hadn't yet been paid. I just knocked on every door and I said, what happened? And it turns out there was just a miscommunication. They didn't get my invoice. Total mistake. It happens. No fault to anybody. But if it weren't for me knocking on those doors myself, I don't know if I ever would have gotten paid because they would never have known, or I wouldn't have known that there was a mistake that had happened in transit.
So fight for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. That's cool. I'll take it. I'll take it. And I mean, at the end, what can I say? The fact that you're pursuing it, the fact that you're making it happen, that you are doing it, and you are showing up. That's super cool. I mean, we all know that it can sometimes be a pain in the butt, but
Oh yeah.
but it's just part of but it's part of the whole experience. And as I said, here you're doing it, so that's badass. And I'm super sure that our next conversation will be about the multiple thousand projects you've been in, because you're honest to it, and that's amazing. So
yeah, I can't wait.
Absolutely. So I want to thank you so much for making this happen. I also want to thank those who stayed the whole episode. Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. If you like it, great. If you didn't, meh. But in the description below, you're gonna find all of Lauren's social media. Let's follow her because we discover why she's super badass. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Lauren. And again, thank you for making this happen. Keep shining out there. Keep rocking. Keep pursuing it because you're doing a fantastic job. and I'll be seeing you in the next one.
Yeah, for sure. Can't wait. Thanks so much for having me.
All right.